Howdy friends, welcome back to the circus. Long story short, I had another video go viral for the same thing that I did like over a year ago. Thankfully, it was not as big of a dumpster fire as it was the first time it happened. I was prepared. So I'll tell you a bit about that, but I am just really thankful that it is mostly going smoothly so far. So let's, I need to start working, so let's just talk about it for a minute. So I went viral for the non-paper towels, and why these fabulously vintage sewing books are here is because they're heavy and I have a lot of them, so I'm using them as weights so I don't have to iron all of these because they look a lot better. Like the stacks just look nicer when they're flat, and sometimes that happens as they sit on the shelf, but I'm shipping them out like ASAP, so I want them to look decent. I started recording before I got myself organized, and that was probably a mistake. Oh, I forgot I need to sit down for this part. Well, it's fine, everything's fine. So currently it is about noon on Wednesday, September 27th. Just putting it out there, I know you all appreciate that I am real and honest, and I'm about to be real and honest again. Prior to Thursday night, a little less than a week ago, September for sales for me was shaping up to be the worst ever. Like worse than my previous worst month ever, which was last April or May. I think was the worst. If sales this month had continued the way they were, which was like, I think I went a week and a half or two the first part of September with 0 sales. Yeah, I could see how that was becoming a problem. I don't know why. It could have been a number of things. I feel like September, people don't spend a lot of money in September just because, it depends on what it is, I guess. Because like school has started and it's not really, like, some people are buying Christmas gifts now, but most people are not because they're trying to wait for Black Friday and all that. And then I was getting paranoid, like, oh my god, what if Etsy is like doing something about the one video that I posted? So I don't think that was the case. And in September, I think the end of August, early September, I started updating some of my listings on Etsy because I hadn't done that in a while. Up until shit hit the fan for me in like March of this year, I was doing that pretty regularly, like once a day, updating like 1 or 2 listings, especially ones that were about to expire. And then that kind of stopped because I was making most of my sales from Shopify anyways, if I was making many at all, because I just wasn't here like physically or mentally for a lot of reasons. But if sales had continued in the way they did for this month, I would be screwed. It wasn't even enough to cover my business expenses. Yeah, that would not have been good because I had been behind from previous bad months. Like I was flying by the seat of my pants and there was no more pants to fly on. Earlier this year I started journaling and I've kind of been like on and off with it. I think I mentioned this in a previous vlog kind of thing, but earlier this year also my grandmother passed away. I always wondered why she did this. So ever since I can remember and ever since my mom can remember, she always had a notebook or journal thing next to her chair that she sat in. It wasn't like a journal as in talking about like feelings and stuff. She would just write down the time. At 5:45 Abby called, or at 7 a.m. took this medicine, or stuff like that. Like if somebody called, she wrote down like what they called about. I've never like said anything to her about it, but I was always wondering like why. She wrote down everything. She even had a notebook in her car that wrote down her mileage every time she got gas. Stuff like that that's really probably inconsequential. But she didn't do anything with it. She didn't take those numbers and like figure out her gas mileage. She just wrote it down. But I started doing that even like before she passed away because I thought there must be something to this. There must be a reason why she is writing things down. And come to find out, I think she was scared of getting dementia, which is a can of worms that I'm not going to discuss today. That's why I started journaling, writing things down. So Thursday, was it Thursday? Wednesday night or Thursday night last week? I can't remember which one. Doesn't really matter. It was exactly 8 p.m. and I had been tracking my time better and just trying to see how much I actually work on things. Like right now I have a stopwatch running on my phone and I'm keeping a spreadsheet of how much I work just so I can see, you know, like, okay, I worked a lot of hours this week. Did I make that much more money? And am I spending too much time on Type 9 Studio versus my shop or something like that? At like 7-ish, I posted a video on Instagram and TikTok because I had gotten this really nice email from a customer. It was a repeat customer, and something with their order they emailed me about like changing an address or something. I don't remember why, but they told me something about like how my products help them. So some of you guys have already found the video because you've commented, and I'm sure more people found it that didn't comment. Like I can run, but I can't hide. Customer said they used my non-paper towels, which is what these are. They used to use 52 rolls of paper towels every year. So like about a roll a week. And they said that ever since I've been using my non-paper towels, they have only used 2 rolls of paper towels in the entire year. So I was like, that is incredible, that I'm going to use this information and this testimony to my benefit. I don't get that kind of feedback often because like an Etsy review, they don't have that much time to use the product and, you know, leave that kind of information. So I made a video about that, posted to Instagram and TikTok at about 7 p.m. I try to post in the evening because that's usually when like stuff takes off, about 8 or 9 p.m. for me in my time, but it could be different for your audience. And at that point I was like, you know, when you're so stressed that you're not even stressed anymore, you're just kind of accepted it. Kind of where I was at. I was writing in my journal like, well, this is it. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like something has to change because I can't keep doing this. And I wrote a little bit more about like stuff I did that day, and I wrote for like exactly 15 minutes. And I stopped my little stopwatch, and then I checked my email one last time at 8:15 to just like before I logged off and, you know, went to eat dinner and, you know, not work anymore. Between 8 o'clock on the dot and 8:15, I got 3 orders. I was like, oh shit. Because I never get that many orders in a row if something's not happening. Checked the old TikTok and the Instagrams, and things were happening. I was like, oh, here we go. The next day, it just kind of took off. I think I got the most orders the day after that. It kind of dropped off like yesterday and the day before, but then today I've gotten quite a few. Total, I think from that video, it's about less than 130, I want to say, of like total orders. So I'm like, But all this has left me kind of confused. I feel like every time in my life I am like, it kind of has the opposite effect. That whole manifestation thing and being grateful just has the absolute opposite effect for me. I don't understand. Or like the opposite effect where like good things happen if I complain. Maybe it's like if I admit that I need help or that things aren't going well, then that's when it starts getting better. I really don't know. But as soon as I realized it was happening, I was like, okay, remember what happened last time, don't make the same mistakes again. So what I have done is I've tried to, like, not every single day, but I think most days, it's going the most viral on TikTok, so that's where I'm trying to focus on. Like every day responding to a comment or making a new video or something just to keep it up, because I have regained most of the followers. I think the first time it happened on TikTok, it doubled or tripled my follower count. I can't remember at this point. And then like those followers just kind of disappeared, and I don't know if, like, I don't think people actively unfollowed me. It's more of like maybe it was bots or something like that saw I had a viral video and then they got deleted, or people's accounts just got deleted, because that happens a lot on TikTok. So I didn't take that personally because I wasn't even posting anything. So like, you know, if I had been consistently posting and lost like thousands of followers, that would suck. But I'm trying to not also go too far with that and spend too much time making videos and things, because I want to get these orders out. And I stopped feeling guilty for making content, or like I sent out an email the other day. Like the first time this happened, I would have been really guilty for that, because all I did was keep my head down and just make and pack orders, because I felt bad if like somebody was waiting for an order and they saw I posted a new video, they'd be like, why are you doing that when my order isn't done? But literally nobody thinks that, I'm pretty sure. And something that I want to make a video on later that I haven't seen talked about much, as far as like Etsy and taking the route that I took and that I kind of am leading you to do with Etsy and like a Shopify later on, is exactly how to use email marketing. Because you'll always hear from me and other people like, you need an email list, you need an email list, but then they don't tell you what to do with it. I kind of have been like learning some things about that, and I started doing automations for my marketing. I'm just kind of like trying it out, seeing how it goes. So what I mean by automations, Shopify and other email services, but I just prefer Shopify because it's the easiest central place that I can use, just because it's already connected to my shop and I don't have to pay for it at this point. Like if I had tens of thousands of customers, I might have to pay for it, but I don't. And I use ConvertKit for Type9 Studio, and they do automations as well. But essentially you can set up triggers in whatever email. Like I'm pretty sure they all do this. But like if somebody first subscribes, then you can have it like send them a discount code, and then if they don't use the discount code, then, or don't make an order, then it'll send them emails like every so often. It's totally customizable, so however you want to do it. So what I spent a lot of time on, like the week or two before all this started happening, is I went through and created a couple automations. First one I did was for new subscribers to my email list, because I have quite a few, and sometimes people subscribe just for the discount, and sometimes they, just want to know about new stuff. And it's kind of easy to feel like you're bothering people, but like they signed up for it. If you put your email address in something for marketing, you know that you're going to receive marketing from that. So if you don't want that, then don't put your email in. And Shopify actually has a pretty good article about what kinds of automations that you can set up. I'm taking my ring off because it keeps spinning around and driving me nuts. I also did one for Etsy customers. So I have my Etsy shop connected with Aweber, which is an email provider service. Then when I add a new subscriber to Shopify from Aweber, I will add a tag. So you can tag your subscribers in pretty much every email platform that I've used. And then I set up an automation to run whenever I tag somebody with Etsy customer. I think I set it to like 2 or maybe 3 weeks. 2 weeks is not very long, like 3 weeks after I tag them as an Etsy customer, to just send them a pretty brief email saying that I also have my own website, or just thanking them for their Etsy order and then letting them know that I have my own website. So if they want to order again, hopefully they will do it there, because I put on my packing slips my actual website URL, and sometimes people reorder on there. They'll like get that it's my website, but sometimes they don't. They'll reorder on Etsy. I also did I did something like really unhinged with that. So I was like, I have these automations, but people that are already in that category, like people that have bought on Etsy already, they are not going to get this email. So what I did was I sent an email just to the people that were tagged as Etsy customers already. I kind of like tried something, I don't know. I'm honestly surprised that nobody unsubscribed after this, but I think the majority of people opened it. But I sent an email with the subject line, like, missed connection, you and me and Etsy makes 3. And then I wrote like this missed connection kind of message. Like, I don't know, can I see this on my phone? I said, howdy, insert first name, fancy meeting you here. Do you remember when we met? I remember like it was yesterday. You bought something from my Etsy shop and so graciously offered me your email address. Maybe you did it out of kindness or just to get a discount, or maybe you knew you had something special. But I can't hold it back any longer. I have to ask you, can it just be us? I mean, I have my own website now, so we really don't even need Etsy anymore. I'm happy they introduced us, but I think we'll be better on our own, don't you? I don't know what I was thinking. And I said, I'd like to invite you over to my website, and a link to my website. There I launch exclusive products and run promotions that you won't find on Etsy. And I signed it XO Abby, founder of my business. Well, that one I also filtered it out of the people that have purchased on Etsy and my website, because if they've already been on my website, then they know. So like I just targeted the people who have only purchased on Etsy that are subscribed to my list anyways. A few more problems that I had the first time that a video went viral was I had Linktree in my bio on TikTok, and I had links to, like, the first link was my website, and then the second link was to Etsy, and I like said Etsy on it, and people were going to Etsy instead of my website, and I was like, duh. And I looked at the analytics on Linktree for that time period, kind of when it was happening, and it was like 50-50. So, and that was about right, like as far as the revenue and the amount of orders is about 50-50 between Shopify and Etsy. And thankfully, a couple weeks, when was this? It doesn't matter, but prior to this incident, I had the foresight to change that a little bit. So what I did was removed the word Etsy from that link. So I just said, like, the link to my website was like my website ships to the US and Canada. And then for the Etsy link, I just put outside the US and Canada, ? Shop here, or something like that. I didn't say that it was Etsy. And that worked pretty well. I mean, some people still, maybe they were like curious, but it was far less than before. Because I didn't get many purchases. It kind of jumped my views for those days, but not much. I hadn't been getting much anyways, but I think that really helped. So like, I didn't want to not link Etsy because I didn't want people like internationally to be like, oh, you don't ship to me, that, you know, screw you. But I just have not like the process of setting up international shipping on Shopify and like the VAT and all that stuff. I just have not had like the brain capacity to sit down and figure that out. The biggest problem that I had the first time that I had a video go viral for these was just keeping stock, because let's just say that I have learned a lot, like trial by fire through that whole process. Because if you're only making like a couple orders a week, maybe like one a day, it's not too difficult or time consuming to keep track of your stock. It gets a little more difficult when you add like a second platform. So when I added Shopify, I kind of was like, oh, this might be a little more difficult now. And I was right, because I didn't know like how much stock to put on one, because then I kept having the issue of so-and-so wants to buy 5 of these. I have 8, but it's split between the 2 places. So if I move it over here, but then that customer doesn't buy it. So the solution to that I should have had from the beginning, but it didn't feel like it was worth the money at the time. There is an app called, I keep calling it an app, it's a software called Trunk Lifesaver. If you have multiple selling channels, especially if you go viral or something, there's no more like moving stock around between the places. It syncs them like instantly. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I sit down, I don't know, just don't want to sit in the same spot all day. I'm trying to figure out how to do it with like keeping my wrists straight, because I have had issues before with my wrists from doing, but I think I didn't get Trunk until I did like a big restock after that viral video. So I don't know how in the heck I was maintaining my stock. Holy shit. Like, because I made over $10,000 that month. Somehow keeping this, like, I don't understand how I did that at all. And how I did it without this serger. Like, with that new serger, it takes me less than 5 seconds to do one of these. And that's not like anywhere near the max speed, that's just what I'm comfortable with. But on my old one, like the small domestic one, it was probably like 20 to 30 seconds per, and then I have to stop and clean it or like let it cool down. But at this point, I have not really ran out of anything, and most of the product I had on hand already. Like, there's not much that I've had to make. But what I did do, ever since the first time, I have had an app on my Shopify to send emails when something comes back in stock, so they can, you know, something's sold out, they can put in their email to be notified. I did not have that the first time, and we're just kind of hoping that people put in their email address to like my regular mailing list. And this time I'm trying something new. A lot of people have suggested to me to do like pre-orders. Even my husband was like, why don't you do pre-orders? One of these days, me and the place that I get this fabric from, starts with a J, you'll probably guess which one, we're gonna fight, because it's like either the stuff that I need is just not available, or I order it and they're like, oops, yeah, we don't actually have that, and I don't get it, or their like bulk ordering thing just doesn't show up, so I can't order it at wholesale prices. So I can't rely on, okay, if I have this print here, I can't like take pre-orders and just expect it to show up. Because I really, really, really don't want to have people order a bunch of stuff on pre-order and then I have to refund them all because I can't get it. But the way I am getting around that, which is kind of complicated now, is that I'm going to order the product and then take pre-orders and then just let that tell me like how many that I need to make right away, because I don't want to waste my time making a bunch of them if not that many people want them. So far I have done that for solid black, and then there's another print that I featured in the video that went viral recently that I do have how many? 5 as of now on pre-order. That might be 4 because I might have another pack that I didn't account for. I don't know. But the problem with that I didn't realize, like, I am glad that I caught those at the exact time that they sold out. So like the last person bought one, and then I switched it over, like changed the title to pre-order, ships in 2 to 3 weeks or something like that. And then I just wrote a little thing in the description like, this is a pre-order item. Your entire order will ship whenever the item is ready. If you need things separately, then please place separate orders. Business jargon like that. But what I didn't realize is that Shopify doesn't have like the same payout system as Etsy. I kind of took this for granted on Etsy because, so I have all of my things, Etsy, Shopify, and then PayPal whenever I get PayPal orders on Shopify, to all pay out every week on Monday. So that usually deposits to my account by Tuesday. And on Etsy and PayPal, I think, if say a customer orders on Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I'll still get that money on Monday. But on Shopify, that's not how it works. They wait until the payment clears on like the buyer's end. So it's like another business day. So I'm not getting any of the many thousands of dollars from those orders until this coming Monday. So I can't order the supplies until Monday. Thankfully, I did have a few orders on Etsy and quite a few people ordered on PayPal, but nowhere near as much as like just through Shopify. Then if I change it to next business day, I'm still not going to get that money tomorrow. It's going to go into effect like the next cycle. So orders that I get after I make that change, I believe, will start on the next business day. But it's not going to be like if somebody places an order right now, I won't get that money tomorrow. It'll be like the next business day after the transaction clears. I never considered that would be a problem, but like if you have 100 some orders waiting and you need to buy the shipping labels for all of those, it's a lot of money. But the hold up right now, so orders had been slow and I was getting low on mailers, and I was like, I'm not gonna order a whole case. The mailers that I use, I get them on Eco Enclose, and I have a referral link in the descriptions of all my videos if you want to use them. I can either order a pack of 25 or like a case of 250, and it's obviously much cheaper to order them in 250 like per mailer. But last time I was like, sales have been kind of slow. I don't really have the funds to order a whole case. So I will just get a couple packs of 25, and that had been working. You know, I didn't have that many orders, so I wasn't thinking about it. Well, then this happened, and I had 10. So I immediately went in, and I actually had to cash out my PayPal early to be able to pay for the case of mailers. Another issue with the payouts on Shopify, but like what else can you do, you know? So those are still not here. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. The kicker of all of this, I have a craft show coming up the first weekend of November. It is now like almost the last weekend of September. So I have like 5 weeks to get ready for this craft show and no freaking product, which like is a good problem to have, but not really, because I'm like, oh crap. Kind of the same thing is going to happen again. Like last time, I sell through so much of my stock that I have to spend a lot of money replenishing it, and I don't get to keep as much of the profit as I would like to. But that is something else that I have been kind of figuring out as well. Firstly, because I am tired of QuickBooks increasing their dang prices, and I didn't track my sales as much as I should have in the past, so I'm kind of trying to fix that. Like I'm keeping track in an Airtable spreadsheet of each order and like the fees that came out of that and the tax that was remitted, because it is not easy at the end of the year to figure out how much tax that Etsy remits, because you can't count that as revenue You don't want to count that as revenue because then you have to pay more like income tax. And one thing that Airtable is helping with is I would like to do a video series about Airtable as well once I kind of get things set up a little bit better, because it automates a lot of stuff if you know how to set it up right. I have my inventory in there and then another page of the sales, and I have it automatically add and subtract, like when I make more of a product and then when I sell that product it will automatically calculate that. I know you can make Excel do that, or like Google Sheets, which is what I used before, but it's not as user-friendly, I guess. Because Airtable is essentially like Excel or one of those spreadsheet things, but it's just way more user-friendly. You can, in plain English, select what you want it to do instead of having to know all these formulas, which you do kind of need to know some formulas if you want it to, calculate something. It's just so important to know your numbers and know like where the money is going and where it's coming from and how much you have to spend on things and how much you are spending on things, because I was just guessing like how much I needed to spend on materials, or I was only just thinking about that whenever I ran out of something. I wasn't like, okay, for these orders this month I used X number of dollars worth of materials, so I need to put that money back into the materials budget. I was not doing that. Kind of playing around, or just not really like actually playing around with the money, but thinking about how I pay myself, because I had been just paying whatever I could afford, like finding a balance between what I could afford pay out of the business account versus how much I needed to pay my bills. And that wasn't really working. And part of my pricing strategy was like an hourly labor rate for the products, but then if you only pay yourself that and you don't sell that many products that month, then you're not going to get paid enough, because I could make 1,000 products and not sell any of them and work for that many hours with no pay. So thinking about switching that over to like a sort of commission kind of method, or like kind of setting it up as percentages. But so far this has been a lot less stressful than the first time, for sure, because I'm not wasting time trying to figure out how much stock I have and how much I can still make with what I have. Like I have good records now of how much materials, that doesn't sound right, the quantity of materials that I have, and then it doesn't matter if an order comes in from Shopify or Etsy, it still like comes from the same place. And one thing that keeps happening that I'm not sure how to fix, a couple months ago I went viral for a new product, and not really like viral like this, but I got quite a few views and I sold out of the product pretty quick. But then when I went to post a video about restocking them, I follow the same format like TikTok usually likes. I started off with emotion, with asking a question that got people curious, and then if the original video might have gotten, I don't remember how many views the original one got, but the second one, or like the follow-up that I restocked them, got like less than 0.5%. I'm not even joking. Less than 0.5% of the views of the original one. Nobody knew that I restocked them. So I spent quite a bit of money restocking for that, getting materials, and yeah, I haven't even sold like 5% probably, if I had to guess, of the ones that I restocked. But at least I'll have them for the craft show. That's the only plus. So I just had lunch, came back. I decided to go ahead and take a look and maybe start figuring out like what other fabric I want to reorder for, let me back up a little bit before I start ranting because I am angry. So the craft show's in 5 weeks. My materials and my stock is depleted, so I'm gonna have to make a bunch. Earlier today I paid the invoice for my thread. I just paid $500 for more thread. It lasted me like a year last time, so I should be okay for a while. I'm just like, this is all just piling on. So I didn't want to buy too much stuff because we're moving in April, and I have to look more into this, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a weight limit depending on how we do the move. Having a lot of fabric is not great if you have a weight limit because it's very heavy. So I've been trying to slim down my stock a little bit so it wasn't too excited about having to order a ton more stuff, but if I need to for the business, then I need to, like, I can't help it. So I also need to reorder because of that craft show, because my most profitable and best-selling product is the non-paper towels, and they're pretty much all gone. They also take the most fabric to make like one unit. So I need to order quite a lot. Like right now I have freed up some of my little cubbies in my storage shelves just so I can put it there when I cut it. I don't really have room to store bolts, so I'm gonna have to cut it all like immediately. So remember how I said that I did the pre-order? Like, I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm threatening, but like, count your days. Store that starts with a J that I'm not going to name. Count your days until hopefully somebody starts a company that does better with supplying things, because I just checked before I decided to do the pre-order. I checked. This was like Sunday or Monday, so like 3 or 4 days ago. When I go to the page of this product, this fabric that I'm trying to reorder, it pops up with the little volume thing, like if you buy at least this many yards, then it's going to be this discounted price, which is half of the current sale price. So yeah. Well, today it's not there anymore. I emailed them, their wholesale department. Is there any possible way to like get the wholesale price, or for you to adjust the price after I order? I would be okay with that if they can't do it on their end, but I will make zero profit on these if I pay the current sale price. So just to fill the orders that are open, because I can't, it's not like I can, I mean I could, but I don't want to cancel those because it's not. Holy. Okay, something's telling me to shut up because these scissors just popped open. What the frick? Okay, yeah, so I'm mad about that. I'm just gonna leave them open so it doesn't happen again. So I emailed them and hopefully they will respond, because I was going to place this order as soon as my Shopify payment comes through. It's now Thursday and I need to start my timer, don't I? Thought I was gonna be able to finish all of those orders by the time that I got the package of mailers, but the mailers came before I was even out of bed, so it's a little after 6 p.m. I have almost all of the open orders done and ready to go, but I'm at like 96 that are ready to ship, and I have some time because it's too late for me to go to the post office today. So I was like, you know what, let's just do the rest of them, and so I can make it 100 orders for the clickbait. And normally if I was cutting a lot of fabric I would have this side cleared off, but I don't. I only have 2 packs of these left that weren't on the pre-order, but I can definitely get more than 2 packs, so I'm just going to see how many I can make with this. Still no response from the email I sent yesterday. Hopefully they'll get back to me by tomorrow, because I would like to order it on Monday or whenever, I guess Tuesday, because it doesn't post until then. I was looking at wrist braces because I am feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Like every time I have to make a bunch of stuff like this, or if I have a craft show, just my hands and wrists are not happy about it. That's something to watch too if you're consuming my content and assuming that you have a handmade business. You've got to take care of your body. I'm still trying to figure out how I am going to pack the orders. I know I definitely cannot bring them in here like I usually do. This is why I'm trying to have everything ready to ship from now on, so I don't have to deal with this. Turn the iron off. I don't want to burn myself and cut my finger off at the same time. At this point the mailers were in, but I had started putting together some of the orders, so I was just waiting on a few things that weren't finished yet. The process that I took this time definitely was less difficult and probably faster than what I did the first time. So the first time I went into ShipStation, selected a certain number of orders, and then had it print a pick list, which tells you exactly how many of each item that you need for those selected orders. That was kind of getting confusing because sometimes I would just run out of time and then have to go back and redo the pick list over again, and then I wasn't sure exactly how many I still needed because I had made some and not others. So this time I just picked the orders and placed them on these shelves with their respective packing list, and I feel like this way I avoided running out of something that if I miscounted. So I pulled all the orders in the order that they were received, and then I set them aside if I didn't have every item on the list. And I put them in stacks according to what specific item that they still needed. That way, once I made those, I could just pick this whole stack and then, okay, this item, I need like one of each of these items in all of these orders. And that way, if I didn't pull them starting from the beginning, I would have ended up in a situation where the person that had been waiting the longest for a certain item might not be the one to get it if I had pulled the ones that I did have in stock, like all the items. This really made sense in my head, but it sounds ridiculous when I try to explain it. The only problem that I ran into with this that I think made it take longer than it should have was that at that point, after I had made all of the products I needed, they weren't in order anymore. So it was going to take a little bit more time and possibly result in errors if I didn't have them in numerical order. My Shopify orders are all, in numerical orders. I think your Shopify starts at like 1,000 and goes up from there. But Etsy order numbers are random from what I can tell. I'm sure there's a method to them. All that I'm doing here now that the mailers are in is packing them up. So I'm putting the product in a mailer. And then off to the side there, I'm writing, I have a sheet with all of the order numbers. So I don't have to bring all of these over to my office, to the computer, to put in the weight and everything for each order. And most of these orders, I'm going to know right off the top of my head how much they weigh and what the dimensions are, because I either ship like 1 or 2 packs of the same thing over and over again, so you just kind of memorize it after a while. But then some of them are a bit bigger, so I need to weigh them. So how I did that, it was a bit difficult to get that, so I just went into ShipStation, and you can customize how you view ShipStation, so you can turn off or on different columns of information depending on what you needed. So I turned off every column except for the order number, and then I just tried to copy and paste those numbers and put that into a Google Doc and then printed that out. So next to each one, I put down, I have 3 different mailers, so I put A, B, or C, and then the weight next to it. And that way all I have to do is take that list to the computer, and then I can print all of those shipping labels at the same time. Now before, I have done possibly the smarter thing and just brought my laptop to wherever I was packing the orders at, but this time, since I didn't have the funds to just buy all of those shipping labels right away, I just wrote it down. That way I could have that information ready to go next time. I also could have just preloaded it in ShipStation. I just now thought of that. Like, you can save it, but not print the shipping label right away. I don't know. I just thought this way having a hard copy would be safer and faster. This batch that I took to the post office on this day ended up being about 75 orders. So there was like 25 in the box and then 25 in each of those IKEA bags. And I counted them all and did a scan form for USPS just so they could scan one barcode and not have to scan all of those. I think they probably would have wanted to strangle me if I didn't do that. I never see anybody else in my post office with a bunch of packages, so I don't want to be that person. Well, that was 74 orders that went out today. I think there was 30 some left that I have here. That was all that I could print, so I'm going to wait and ship those whenever I get paid from Shopify, because there's like 4,000, it might be more than that at this point, sitting in my Shopify account because it's Friday and it's not going to come in until Monday. So if this happens to you, change your payouts to daily, like immediately. So I printed all the orders and I am going to pull what I have again. That worked really well. And one of these orders is from the share and save on Etsy. I think I only one of them, like I must have triggered the quality score or something, because some of the same items keep selling over and over. And it's the end of September, so people are really more thinking about Halloween, and some of the stuff is Halloween, so I'm trying to get them out like as fast as possible. But the share and save actually worked the way that I intended it to on my link tree, because I said, if you're not in the US or Canada, click here, and it was a link to my Etsy, and this person is in Sweden. They did get back to me about the fabric order, and they said, we're sorry, it's just because there wasn't enough stock of that thing for them to offer wholesale, which is understandable, but like it shows me that they have 1,000 units in stock, which means 1,000 yards, so that's, if they're sending it out to stores too, that's not a whole lot, so I understand. They shipped, I ordered 40 or 48 yards, I think just 40, and there was a coupon, so I ended up, because usually you can't use a coupon with the wholesale, but I ended up getting it for like $4 a yard approximately, so it's a lot better than $6 a yard, so I'm okay with that. Hopefully All of it comes because 9 yards shipped today, and then it's still saying like it's waiting. Sometimes they will ship them separate if they're in separate warehouses, but sometimes you just get what you get if they don't have any more. So hopefully I can know like if it's going to ship or not, so I can like cut off the pre-orders, because I really don't want to have to tell people that stuff's out of stock. And also what I did, I might need to go get some more of those, but I just made a little sticky note with what the item is that each order needs. That way I don't have to like flip through them whenever I make something and need to put it together. I also had a coupon code that I advertised in some videos, and I forgot to set an end date, like I extended it, and I never put an end date. So a few people have found that and used it, but I think I'm just going to leave it. I really kind of want to take it easy on my hands today. I don't know if I'm going to so much. I might do that tomorrow.